All right, so let's talk about subject to and when to offer it before I faint on this fucking walk. It's so hot. But yeah, yesterday I went on an appointment as a referral out in Missouri City. And so when I go to these appointments, I don't just go in there, look at the house and make my cash offer. You know, I like to build rapport, of course. And, you know, once we build a little bit of rapport, once we're sitting down and we're in the part where, you know, we're going to lay out her options, I like to break it down in 3 different ways that these homeowners have to sell their property. And so number one is, I always ask them, so why haven't you listed your property? That's where you'll get, you know, highest price, maximum exposure. You know, everybody's gonna see it, and hopefully a good family, you know, at that retail value comes in and makes an offer. But in her situation, the property needed work. It needed a good 20K in work. She's already falling behind 2 months. So, you know, she had a different type of motivation to where listing it, you know, after we spoke, wasn't convenient because she didn't want to deal with inspections. She didn't want to deal with showings. She needed something, and she needed a solution now. So the next option, you know, once we talk about listing, is the cash offer. And I let them know upfront and right away that, hey, we're investors. With the cash offer, you're always going to give up a little bit of equity because we got to turn around and fix the property and make a profit. You know, that's how our business works. So I let them know upfront. And, oh, I'm about to fucking thing. Little fucking hill. And I like to break down the numbers as far as I'll get my computer, go over comps with them, compare it, apples to apples, and really come out with a good ARV after repair value that they can see, I can see. We're not just making fucking numbers up. There's actual comps. Go back 3 months. Like I said, compare apples to apples. And I like breaking it down that way. And I usually tell them, you know, we pay up to 75%. It just depends on the area, depends on the repairs, just depends on a lot of other factors. So in this case, she had a good payoff amount, but she had done several modifications, forbearances, and so they just kept racking up. And so her total payoff was actually about $250. Property's worth about $315. So now when you get into the cash offer, if you're talking about 75% of that ARV minus repairs, whether I'm going to wholesale it at a fee, whether I'm going to keep it, I got to add the profit. So I was already coming way under the 240 because, you know, we got to do the formula. So right away, I knew that a cash offer wasn't going to work because she would be making nothing. So I immediately scratched that out as one of her options. And then so I went to the third one, which is taking over payments subject to. So what is subject to? Subject to is taking over the payments subject to the existing mortgage. So if they have a 2.5% interest rate and 15 years left on the loan, that's exactly what you're taking over. You're taking over the PITI, so when you're calculating these subject tos, it just depends, you know. Some people like to owner finance them, so you got to make sure that the entrance fee is not too high, because when you owner finance it, you're going to try to make 10-20% down, and that's where you recoup most of your investment. You become the bank and you create some cash flow. Or some people pick up these subject tos to just rent them out. In this case, her PITI is about $1,800 and close to $1,900, and the rentals are going for about $1,800 to $1,900. So, in my opinion, I think this is best suited for somebody who's going to buy it and owner finance it. So they'll become the bank. They'll push up the price a little bit. They'll ask for a good 10-20% down. They'll create a higher interest rate. Probably charge the new end buyer, 9.5% interest rate, and that's how you build, wealth. I mean, I know a few people that do a lot of owner finance properties, and they're just accumulating, and essentially you're just a lender, you're just a bank, and you don't have to worry about repairs and none of that shit. So I presented all those offers. She was very thankful. She appreciated that it was clear how everything was, you know, shown to her, because everybody was just pulling up, knocking, scaring her, leaving fucking 10-page pamphlets, just a lot of crazy shit, and it was really confusing. So that's why I just break it down real simple. Sit in front of a computer, break down those numbers in front of them, and I mean, you're just telling them facts, and then you let them decide what's best for them. So we're still working this one. Like I said, it's out in Missouri, and holy shit, I'm out of breath. Whew. It's out in Missouri. This one actually has a 2.5% interest rate, so I got to check into the mortgage statement. Maybe they're paying a lot for the insurance, maybe the taxes went up, I don't know. I haven't looked at it, but I'll keep y'all updated what happens with that one.